The last 8 years haven't worked very well, have they?
This election's too important to take anything for granted.
The time is now to unite.
It's time to turn around Washington. I'm Mitt Romney.
If you look at the way the campaigns are actually run, they're, again, very large distributed organizations that are happening and turning on a dime and having to respond. In that kind of environment, you can't have a command and control from the center, from the top down, to be effective. In many ways, what you have to do is let go of control. When you run a political campaign, it's very much like what businesses are trying to do. You're trying to sell a product, but the product is a candidate and the candidate's ideas and what the promise that the candidate has. So how is that really different from a business when you're trying to sell a product and the promise that the product can make your life better or the service can make your life easier? So in many ways, I think businesses have a lot to learn from political campaigns.
I'm optimistic about America because I believe in the people of America. I'm George W. Bush.
In 2004, the election campaign was very much impacted by the internet in terms of being able to send out videos or messages and emails. But the difference now in 2008 are the rise of social networks and social technologies that allow people to connect to each other, even despite what the campaign does or doesn't do, so to speak. So in 2008, you see people like Obama, McCain, and Clinton, and many of the other people, especially Ron Paul, really tap into the internet, but not just for messaging, but also for galvanizing that support of their base. It's no longer about a message of one candidate speaking to a mass of people. It's about the candidate reaching out to some core group of people who are then empowered to go and campaign on behalf of that candidate.
Put the government of our state back on the side of the people.
If you think about what campaigns can demonstrate, they really demonstrate how you can tap into your loyal base of supporters, of your fans.
We are Joe the Plumber!
And have them help you carry the message. So what's really happened in the 2008 election is this promise of being able to tap into that base. Now, when you think about it as a company, as a marketer, you have a base of customers who also are your ardent supporters. You can tap into that base, that groundswell, so to speak.
We've got to keep fighting for every vote.
Of people who support you, and you can ask them to do a lot of the heavy lifting inside a campaign.
I'm a mother too, and I want to help you, and she was just so engaging and so compassionate and so
Whether
warm.
it's for a political campaign or for a product. Businesses are reluctant because they're used to messaging their customers and their prospects. And here are my attributes, here are my products, what's great about them, versus having a real conversation. So when you're having a conversation the way that candidates have to inside the campaign, that means talking and responding back to each other. And marketers tend to be very uncomfortable with conversations and frankly, really bad at listening. And they have very, very thin skins. And so for them to develop a thicker skin like candidates do, to hear the negative responses and then to be able to respond back to it in a very positive way is important. Businesses can learn from campaigns also in terms of how they handle real-time changes in the environment. Say there's a negative attack.
Barack Obama and domestic terrorist Bill Ayers, friends.
Candidates realize that they have to be able to address that, they have a plan in place, and they know to go out and counter that very directly.
The notion that somehow, as a consequence of me knowing somebody who engaged in detestable acts 40 years ago when I was 8 years old, somehow reflects on me and my values doesn't make much sense, George.
But businesses, when they see something negative written about them, they're sort of shell-shocked by it. They're frozen in the headlights, and they don't really know how to respond. Businesses should be able to respond in real time, be able to monitor what's being said about products and services, put in a plan of attack, response, use all the social media tools out there to be able to get a message very quickly out.
I can say is, wow.
If you think about what businesses can learn from politicians about the way they run campaigns, is that how do you inspire people with the message?
And you and I together, we will change this country and change the world. God bless.
And then let go of it and feel confident in your message is so strong, your vision is so strong that people will be motivated. Because in the end, you can sort of micromanage people a little bit better than others, but you will not gain that huge competitive advantage unless you can really inspire people to go way beyond what they originally thought they could ever do.
That's what this election's about. That's what we're fighting for.